Would you talk us through what it's like actually becoming an astronaut,
Sure.
overcoming those trepidations and steadily getting the right stuff?
You bet. Well, the first thing they do when you get selected as an astronaut, they bring you down to Houston, and you go through a year and a half of basic training, basic astronaut training. They teach you everything you need to know about the space shuttle, about the space station, how to do spacewalking, how to do robotics activities where you drive the robotic arm. And so you go through this just this wide variety of activities, and you get graded on most of the stuff, so they see what you're good at, and then you kind of specialize. And for me, I happened to be good at spacewalking, so doing in the pool and doing over and over again, and getting better at it, and you get more used to it. And so then sometime in the next few years, and for me it was about 6 years after I got there, you get assigned to a crew. And now when you get assigned to a crew, you're still about a year from flight. So you've already done your year and a half basic training. Now you have a year of specialized training just for that mission. And so if you like, I can go ahead and take us through some slides and show you about what a typical crew might do during their training flow and how they get ready for a mission. So one of the things we do is they take us as a crew out to a remote site potentially and do some team building exercises. What you'll do is you'll go to a remote location like the Utah Canyonlands. You saw me there rappelling or canyoneering. And they take us out there as a crew, a newly named crew, and we learn our coping skills and how to work together and how to cope with adversity. And so, in whether it's being in a rainy environment or any kind of environment that stretches you physically and mentally. And so we can do that, and then once we finish that, we come back to Houston and we start doing our simulator training. Here you see a simulator that we use for docking. We also have simulators that simulate the ascent. They shake you and they vibrate you, and they give you many more failures than you could ever possibly see in a real space flight. Because we have a saying that when you go on a space flight, when you walk out from crew quarters, you leave half your brain behind when you're going out to the rocket, because it's such an incredible experience that you just don't have all the mental faculties you'd have on a normal day. So we have all sorts of simulators that train us to do that, and then we also have T-38 jet aircraft that we use to fly around in, and that's one thing that's not a simulator. It's a supersonic jet aircraft, and the pilot and the mission specialist fly together, and the pilot does the flying, and the mission specialist does the work in the back, the communications and navigation. And that's one of the only places where you're training and where it has real consequences. And this is me and Hans Schlegel. We're together training in the pool. Hans is on the right. I'm upside down on the left. And so in the bottom of this pool, it's one of the biggest indoor pools in the world. And at the bottom of the pool, they have a mock-up of the space shuttle and the space station. So you can practice your spacewalks over and over and over again. And you'll notice the mock-ups there, they're made of plastic. There's little holes in them and stuff. So they don't look like the high-dollar equipment we have on the space station, but dimensionally, they're perfect. If there's a handrail on the mock-up, there's a handrail in space. And I remember my friends telling me before I flew for the first time that don't worry about when you do a spacewalk, when you get out there, feel like you've been there 100 times before. And they're right, because you get a certain muscle memory. You know where things are. You know how things are supposed to fit. And I remember being overwhelmed on my first spacewalk, thinking, well, this is going to be incredible, doing this spacewalk. And I got outside, and I took a tool, and I put it on the bolt, and this tool fit just like it did in the pool. And I thought to myself, this is just like I've trained. And so I felt, okay, I know what I'm doing for the next 6 hours. I know how to do this stuff. So that's one of the places that we train a lot. And then meanwhile, while we're training, we're getting the space shuttle ready for flight. And so here you see Atlantis brought into the vehicle assembly building. They put it on a big crane with a very, very highly paid and trained crane operator, I hope. And they pick it up over the area of the hangar, and they attach it to the external tank and the solid rockets you see down there. This is the same hangar they used to use with the big Saturn V spacecraft. And then it rolls out to the pad like you see here, and it is bolted down at the pad. This was kind of nice. We were in a T-38 aircraft, and my pilot and I had a camera along, and we took a picture as Atlantis was rolling to the pad. And then they bolted on the pad, and you can finish your training there. And so you're training in parallel while the vehicle and its payload are being readied, and after a year, you're pretty much ready to go.
Wow. And does that mean that some of us who think that we could not possibly cope might steadily through that process?
Absolutely. It's kind of an acclimation process. Yeah. Well, the shuttle itself, its legacy, I think, is a fewfold. The first thing is it launched some interplanetary probes. It sent probes out to the planet, which was an incredible achievement. Then it launched the Hubble Space Telescope. It fixed the Hubble Space Telescope. And those missions would not be possible without the shuttle. And then the crown jewel of the Space Shuttle program was the construction of the International Space Station. Over the last 10 years, so fully a third of the life of the Space Shuttle was spent building the International Space Station. And it's the heavy lifter, and without it, the space station would look completely different. And it's proved its mettle over and over again. But now it's time that we finish completion of the space station, where we want to do different things so we can retire the space shuttle.
The space station has now got only, is it 3 people on board?
Yeah, there's 3 people. There's usually 6 on board, but right now we're in a crew transition phase right now. So one of the crews came down and another crew will launch. So it'll be back up to 6 here in the
and we're dependent, paradoxically, on the Russians now too.
Yes, it is. So now that we've retired the space shuttle, our rides to the space station will be via the Russians, and we've been doing that for a while now. We've been servicing the space station with the space shuttle, but we've gone to and from with our astronauts via the Russians. So, for the next 3 to 5 years, we expect to be buying seats with the Russians, and we will still be operating the space station. The space station is, like I say, it's a beautiful research facility up there. It's been there for 10 years, and we've now completed it. So now we can enter the era of utilization, where we can do all the scientific research that we want to do without being interrupted by construction, which has been an enormous task for the last 10 years. So for the next 3 to 5 years, we'll hitch rides with the Russians, and then after that, we hope to have developed a new commercial provider that can provide access to the space station to low Earth orbit. Maybe one of these new companies that we're talking about has a chance to deliver our astronauts for us. We will pay them, and they will develop the rockets, as opposed to NASA developing the rocket on its own.